I'm Katie, and my topic today is Meatless Mondays. Have you guys heard of this before? Okay, a couple of you? Okay, so I'm going to go into it. There is no question that meat in moderation can be a good source of complete protein and key vitamins and nutrients, such as iron and zinc, and vitamins B12 and B6, and for many, meat is an important feature of their diets. However, eating too much meat, particularly red and processed meat, is associated with a wide variety of serious health problems and has a huge impact on the earth. So my claim is that following Meatless Monday practices has significant benefits. In context, Meatless Monday is an international campaign that encourages people not to eat meat on Mondays in order to better their health and the health of the earth. I'll prove my point through 3 secondary claims. Number 1, current meat eating negatively affects the environment. Number 2, practicing Meatless Monday shows positive results with the health of the planet. And number 3, practicing Meatless Monday is beneficial to a person's health. For my first secondary point, current meat eating negatively affects the environment by producing large amounts of greenhouse gas emissions and releasing waste through waterways. Brian Walsh from Time magazine in 2012 wrote an article called Feeding the Planet Without Destroying It, and said that each American farmer produces enough food in 1 acre to feed over 150 people. Productivity comes with serious side effects from the aquatic dead zones created by fertilizer runoff in coastal farms to the health problems and ecological damages associated with chemical pesticides. According to the Environmental Working Group, their report, Meat Eater's Guide to Climate Change and Health, 8 slaughterhouses are among the nation's top 20 industrial polluters of surface water. They're responsible for discharging 30 million pounds of contaminants in 2009 alone. According to a 2006 report published by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, or the FAO, the livestock sector generates 18% of greenhouse gas emissions, a bigger share than that of transportation. Henning Steinfeld, chief of FAO's Livestock Information and Policy Branch and senior author of the report, said, "Livestock are one of the most significant contributors to today's most serious environmental problems. Urgent action is required to remedy the situation." That leads into my second secondary claim. Practicing Meatless Monday shows positive results with the health of the planet simply from cutting back meat once a week. Going meatless once a week limits the human's carbon footprint and helps save precious resources like fresh water and fossil fuel. According to research from the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, nearly half of all the water used in the United States goes to raising animals for food. Between watering the crops that farmed animals eat, providing drinking water for billions of animals each year, and cleaning away the filth in slaughterhouses, factory farms, and transport trucks, the farmed animal industry places a huge strain on our water supply. The water needs of livestock are tremendous, far above those of vegetables or grains. It takes more than 2,400 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of meat, while growing 1 pound of wheat only requires 25 gallons. Slowing the demand of meat reduces the use of water, and reining in meat consumption once a week can help slow this trend. My last secondary claim, practicing Meatless Monday is beneficial to a person's health. Going meatless once a week can reduce the risk of a person from getting chronic preventable conditions like cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity. Of course, cutting down meat will not guarantee perfect health, but it does correlate with better health. In 2000, total meat consumption, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, meat consumption reached 195 pounds per person. That's boneless, trimmed weight of meat per person. That's 57 pounds above average annual consumption in the 1950s. That shows that in 50 years, a person consumed 3 times of the meat they should have. In the 2010 Optimal Macronutrient Intake Trial to Prevent Heart Disease at Harvard University, the data found that replacing saturated fat-rich foods, which include mostly meat and dairy products, such as pizza and cheese, with foods that are rich in polyunsaturated fat, like fish, nuts, and grains, reduces the risk of heart disease by 19%. Los Angeles City Councilman said last year, Ed Grace, said, "If we do it 1 plate at a time, 1 meal, 1 day, we are ratcheting down the impact on our environment. We start with 1 day a week, and then who knows, maybe we can change our habits for a lifetime." The fact that so many people depend on livestock for their livelihoods limits policy options available. The livestock sector's decision makers find it difficult to address all the economic, social, health, and environmental issues all at the same time. So consumers are more likely to be the main source to push the livestock sector into more sustainable forms. That is why it is important for people like you and me to slowly cut back meat. Following my secondary claim that meat consumption harms the environment and that Meatless Monday improves the earth and our health, I hope you agree with my claim that practicing Meatless Mondays has significant benefits. Thank you.
Right, Katie, the proposition is very clearly stated. There's an excellent layout of what the secondary points are going to be. The impact that it has on the environment or the problems, they're a little generic there, and I think you need to show that they are more significant. You had some quantification of the impact that they, like you mentioned, the millions of gallons of contamination in the water or the amount of resources utilized, but we don't get much impact on the whole. For example, you say that meat production accounts for 18% of the greenhouse gases, so how much of a difference would Meatless Mondays make? That we don't really get a development of. But I think you are on the right track. You've got a good start on these issues, and you did a good job presenting information on all of those points. The source citations are usually pretty solid. I would skip PETA and try and find something that doesn't come from crazy people, even though they are describing something that's a piece of factual data. I'm sorry, they're an extremist group, and I think it raises red flags in people's heads when they hear that. I heard a piece of information earlier this week that would have fit perfectly with your speech, and it had to do with all of the cattle sales that are going on now, that basically they're averaging, like an auction house would average selling 100 cattle a day in the past. Right now they're selling up to 800 cattle a day because all of the farmers can't keep their cattle in shape. They can't feed them, they can't water them because of the drought stuff that's going on, which seems like it fits with your argument. It's a very current piece of information, and it doesn't come from nut jobs. So, there's information out there. I'm sorry if you guys are PETA members. I didn't mean to call you a nut job, but you are. All right. I did think that it sounded like you were rushing quite a bit. You still had a minute, so it's a practice kind of thing. You need a little bit more opportunity to get through it and test and see how long it goes. Plus, of course, it's also an energy thing. When people get up and they're anxious and they got nervousness, that's one of those things. You practice it at home. Every time it runs 6 minutes, you get here and it goes 5 minutes. That's just 20% energy, that sort of thing. So that happens sometimes. Thank you.